transportation and transportation funding in the state of Maryland, something that we desperately need. Again, thank you for coming out to demonstrate your strong support for increased revenue to our Transportation Trust Fund and for protection of the fund from raids for non-transportation purposes. If you look at some of the facts that we're facing, you see the dire straits that the state of Maryland is in regarding transportation. Total congestion costs for Maryland are over $3 billion a year. The Texas Transportation Institute ranked Washington as having being number one in the country as far as congestion. They ranked Baltimore number 6 in the country regarding congestion, but unfortunately Baltimore moves up to number 1 when you look at regions of less than 3 million people. Those are certainly not rankings that we'd like to be number 1 in. Over the last 30 years, the number of peak period travelers in Maryland has increased by 71%. Daily vehicle miles traveled have increased by 135%, but the number of lane miles of road that has increased is only 35%, and the cost of congestion has increased over 1,200%. As a result, 40 million gallons of fuel are wasted annually, with motorists just sitting in traffic. Yet despite these statistics, the Maryland legislature has failed to act, and the Maryland gas tax has not been increased since 1992, 20 years ago. The resulting backlog of state highway, transit, port, and airport projects needing construction funding exceeds a conservative estimate of $50 billion, at least according to MDOT's count, and it continues to escalate. With static Transportation Trust Fund dollars, MDOT's only been able to perform maintenance and repair, not badly needed new construction. For 2 straight Consolidated Transportation Plan programs, there has been no new projects in the CTP. As a result of that lack of funding, those directly involved in transportation have been forced to lay off workers. Increased funding of that trust fund will address our state's dire infrastructure needs and put people back to work. Years, the case has been made for transportation funding. Now it's time for action. A statewide coalition of advocates, many of you which are a part of the statewide Transportation Alliance to Restore the Trust, is supporting increasing annual revenues to the trust fund and making sure that we protect that fund from being rated for non-transportation purposes. We have a number of representatives of START here today, and I'll ask them to recognize some and ask some to come forward. We'll start off by one of our key members, and that is Jim Russ, who heads up the Maryland Transportation Builder and Materials Association. Jim?
Thank you. Can everybody hear in the back? All right, good. Let's hear it for jobs in Maryland for our workers. Let's let them hear it up here why we're here today, because we've done nothing since 1992. 23.5 cents doesn't spend very well today. It just doesn't get the job done. Inflation has eaten it up. We tried our buns off back in 92. We got a nickel and we couldn't get it indexed. And so here we are trying to scramble for our lives, so to speak. Everything Don said, he's taken most of my stuff away from you, so I won't echo it again. But you heard about it. We talked to the legislative body last year. We had several meetings. We had a rollout of a trip report that said, we're in trouble here. We're falling backwards every day in Maryland on the safe and efficient highways that we need to have. We have bridges that are in trouble. We have roadways that are in trouble. We have potholes everywhere. The cost estimated by them to the citizens of this area, $1.6 billion in maintenance costs because of bad highway, bad road systems. That's a lot of money. And we're worried about a nickel on gas tax increase to support this. We can't seem to get a solid line. They all kind of run for cover when we try to get the message to them, and they all have it a good excuse. I tell folks all the time, when we're in a group, especially some of our best friends on the other side of the aisle is in the minority, when they tell us can't do this and can't do that. This is the most conservative group of people you're going to know, fiscal conservative people talking to you. We're engineers, we're contracting people, we're constructing people, we're materials people. We know we don't want to throw our money away, our tax dollars away. But infrastructure spending is the most important thing you do for any economic region. It's well proven, goes back to the Depression eras and before. We know we built our way out of these bad times because we built things. We built things that last. We built things for the future. We build it for future generations so we can get around, get our jobs done. And don't sit in gridlock, as Don said. Those are proven numbers. To be first in class on the shame list is never good. And that's where we are with TTI and the others that look at our gridlock problems. So it's all out there. Others have told this body in writing that we have a problem. The issue is we've got to learn to step up and fund. We've got to get the money. And the Blue Ribbon Commission came out with a very solid program, well thought out, well developed. It fits the bill. We have to put the trust in the trust fund. We have to put a lock, or at least make it the last place, not the first place, any governor goes to balance his budget. It's too easy. One flip of the pen and millions of dollars come from the trust fund over to balance the budget. There's something drastically wrong about that. There has to be a system that says, make it a little more difficult than that. And then maybe it won't be so oftenly abused. At the end of the day, this is all about jobs. It is a jobs bill. We have people, my members, we're off well into the high 20s and 30% unemployment as an average. And we have companies here today who are well over 50% in layoffs. That's not good. And there's not much in the pipeline. We talked to the joint committees here back in October, and we talked to them about, what's been carrying us is the Intercounty Connector. Well, folks, it's over. There's a little bit left. The last two sections are very small, but the big bop is done. And what that means is it's not just the general contractors that are out of business out there. It's subcontractors, MBEs, DBEs, suppliers, local commercial people, the whole gamut. $1 in construction goes a long way. $1 in infrastructure spending, and whose report you're looking at, is anywhere from 5 and change to 7 and change of economic growth in the marketplace it's in. It does spread because it spreads to everybody. It's got talons that just go out and out and out. Anyhow, let's get behind this. Let's make sure I have to urge you, please take this, run with it, go see your delegation, go see your delegates, your senators. Let's get the message out. Let's pound the doors hard and get this done. We have to get it done this year. It's the best chance we're ever going to have, and if we don't get it done, I don't know where we're going. Maybe we'll lock the gates on Maryland and, let them go around. Anyhow, thanks for everybody for coming. Thank you very much.
Has been a great sponsor, a great supporter of us throughout this effort, and we appreciate that. Let's hear from another sector, industry sector that's affected. That would be Jerry Giannetti, who talked to us a little bit about the impact this has on engineers and consulting engineers and the importance that plays to the community. Jerry?
Thank you, Don.